Welcome back, everybody. It's Zach here, bringing us another fantasy football video. This one I'll be going through the final 7 games of Week 10, going through every single player that I'll be looking to get in or out of my fantasy football lineup this week. As always, if you guys have any specific start-sit questions, let me know in the comments below. And if you're looking for a game that I don't talk about in this video, that means it came out in part 1 of this video, which came out Thursday morning. So go take a look at that video as well. And then if you still have any questions, or if you have any questions, if you're too lazy to go watch the video, just let me know in the comments. I love helping you guys out there. Should be a lot of fun. I think we've got a lot of fun games this week, and we're getting closer and closer to the end of the fantasy football regular season, so these games start to matter more and more going forward. Hopefully we can get you guys all set and get you guys some wins this week. It's starting to get to be really crunch time here going forward. So let's get into it, guys. We will start things off here with the Giants at the Bears. Pretty optimistic that this might be a fun game. For the Giants, I think it's pretty straightforward. Jackson Dart needs to be a starting quarterback in fantasy football pretty much every single week going forward. He is the quarterback 3 since he took over as the starter. When you're running that much, when you're in that many negative game scripts and you're just having to throw the ball a ton, it makes Jackson Dart relatively good for fantasy. So he should be in for sure. Darius Slayton, I'm also optimistic about this week. You could flex Wan'Dale Robinson as well. Neither one of those guys are must plays, but I am in a 10-team league with a 2 flex spot. I got a couple guys on bye, and Darius Slayton is making it in for me. I think I have Tet and Pickens out this week, so Slayton made it in. Not a must start by any means, but he's the kind of guy that you could play if you have to. Wan'Dale, similar. He's a full PPR kind of guy. Not really getting utilized downfield as much as he was earlier on in the year, so it's tough to love that. But the volume's there. Again, this should be a good game script here for the Giants to have to air it out. As far as their backfield goes, I think I would, generally speaking, prefer to sit both of them. If you have to play a Giants running back, I do still lean at Tyrone Tracy. Just should be a negative game script again. He profiles the pass catching back. We saw it long enough last year that we know Tracy's the better player, so I'm not going to go to Singletary just after one game of more snaps for him. For the Bears, Rome Odunze, right back in my lineup here. Believe it or not, it's actually not necessarily a good matchup for number 1 wide receivers against the Bengals. The Bengals have one good player on defense, it's DJ Turner, their corner. Everyone else sucks, right? So you got DJ Turner, he's going to do at least a decent job on the opposing wide receiver 1, and then everybody else is going to eat. That's what we saw last week. So keep that in mind with the Bengals going forward, but don't overreact to Rome putting up a 0. That's just because the Bengals are so bad everywhere else. There wasn't really any need to go to Rome. Caleb, great play here as well. The Giants are not a very good defense at all. I feel good about Caleb Williams here. We had DeAndre Swift re-added to the injury report today. Didn't practice at all, so just keep an eye on it. I assume he's going to play still. I think it's just a rest day for him, but rest days on Fridays aren't exactly the most typical thing, so keep an eye on it. I think if Swift plays, they're both like low-end running back 2s that I'd probably want to get in my lineup. With that injury hesitancy, I'd maybe lean Monangai over Swift, to be completely honest, but both are in play for sure. And then if DeAndre Swift does sit, obviously Kyle Monangai becomes a must-start in this one. The Giants are the worst run defense in the NFL in terms of yards per carry. Colston Loveland, decent play here. We're going to get Cole Kmet back here, so it's not necessarily the most exciting thing there. We didn't see Loveland really do a whole lot until Cole Kmet left the game with a concussion, but I think it's tough to just not utilize Colston Loveland after what he did last week, so I think you can play him, but it's just not like a must-start by any means. And then DJ Moore would be the only other guy I'd look at. You can play him if you have to, but he's like a low-end wide receiver 3 for me. Even deeper formats, you could look at Olamide Zaccheaus, but I just can't really go there. We got a kind of gross game here between the Jaguars and the Texans. For the Jaguars, Travis Etienne, low-end running back 2. The Texans are a phenomenal defense, but the volume has been there for Etienne. I think it's just tough to sit him down, especially with just how just broken people are at running back at this point in the year. Parker Washington would be the wide receiver I'd want to play if I have to play a Jaguars one. He's going to operate out of the slot. I bet he gets 8 or 9 targets in this one. Not going to win your week by any means, but I bet you end up with like 6 for 60. You're hoping for a touchdown. You could do a lot worse there. He's basically like a Wan'Dale Robinson level play in this game. Jacoby Myers, just keep an eye on him. I don't really want to play him in this one, but it'll be interesting to see what the usage is like. We got Brian Thomas ruled out today, so nobody else to really be excited about there. And then Nico Collins is the only Texan I would play. The Jaguars defense has been pretty good. We're going to have CJ Stroud out with concussion, so we're going to get a Davis Mills game. If you thought this Texans offense was bad before, just wait till you see a full game of Davis Mills against a pretty solid defense. So I'm not expecting a whole lot of scoring opportunity here. I don't want to play Nick Chubb or Woody Marks or anything else. So it's just Nico here for Houston. Next, we got a pretty fun game, actually, between the Cardinals and the Seahawks. I think this game's actually going to be pretty close. The Cardinals have been a lot better than their record so far this season. They're 3-5, but all 5 losses are incredibly close losses. And I do think that Jacoby Brissett is better for this offense than Kyler was at the start of the year. Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, they're both going to be in for me. They've been really good since Jacoby Brissett took over. I think if you need to stream Jacoby Brissett, you can. The thing with the Seahawks defense is it's such a good run defense that you just have to throw on them. Not that they're a bad pass defense by any means. They're a really, really good defense at this point in the year, but I think you just have to throw so much that Brissett could end up sort of just voluming his way towards being relevant. If you have to play a Cardinal running back, I think it's Amari DiMercado. I hate it. I don't want to play any of them. But again, if you're desperate, pick a guy up off of waivers Sunday morning. You could do worse there. For the running backs in Seattle, I think I want to sit both of them, but at the same time, I would play both of them over DiMercado. So that just shows you how confident I am in DiMercado here. If I have to play a Seattle running back, I think it's Ken Walker, but I don't love either one. It's just not exactly exciting there. You're hoping for a touchdown for either one. Sharp's probably more likely to do that, but Walker's more likely to have a big play. So tough there. JSN, though, he's a must start. I think you could stream Shaheed if you want to, or stream Darnold if you want to as well. The Cardinals are actually a pretty solid defense, though, so I don't necessarily want to play Darnold in this one, but it's just tough to ignore how well he's playing. And then Rashid Shaheed. We're going to have Cooper Kupp and Torrey Horton likely miss this game, so if you want to throw Rashid Shaheed into your lineup, you could. It's just really tough for me to get excited about playing a guy that's only been in the locker room for 5 days. He does have familiarity with the system. We had Kubiak come over from New Orleans to Seattle last year, so he should integrate relatively quickly. So you could do worse there, but I think if you had the luxury of doing it, I just want to sort of wait and see here. I bet he has like a 50% snap share in this game, so with that being the case, you're really hoping for a big play. And, if anyone can do that, it's Shaheed, but it's just tough to bank on that. So desperation flex play in my mind, but there is upside for sure. Next, we got the Lions at the Commanders. For the Lions, it's pretty easy, I think. You're going to play Gibbs, Monty, Amon-Ra, and Laporta. It's not a matchup that scares us here. The Commanders are really in trouble at this point in the year. I think the only two question marks for the Lions are going to be Goff and Jameson Williams. They talked a lot in their bye about wanting to get Jameson Williams more involved in the offense, and we sort of saw that last week. So I feel okay about Jameson, and then in this game, I think they'll be able to score a lot of points. So I kind of trust Goff, even though it's not the best matchup. Goff's so much better at home. Typically, it's on the road, outside. But I feel good about both of them. I think I'd feel good about playing both those guys. For the Commanders, it's tough. We did get some good news. There was no ligament damage to Jaden Daniels' elbow somehow. It was just a dislocated elbow. They didn't put him on IR even, so it's possible that he comes back after less than 4 weeks missed. I'd still be shocked because I think the Commanders are going to lose a lot of games. It's just not going to make sense to bring him back. But this week, it's going to be rough. You're going to have Marcus Mariota out there at quarterback. I think Deebo Samuel is the only player you really should be playing, and even he's like a flex play. It's been a while since we've seen him be good for fantasy. I don't want to play any of the running backs. I think if you have to play one, it's probably Chris Rodriguez, but that is really gross. I just can't get excited about that. And then if you're really desperate, you could stream Marcus Mariota. He runs enough that he ends up being okay, but I just think there's so many better options that I don't really want to go there if I can avoid it. Next, we got a really important game in the NFC West here. We've got the Rams going to the 49ers. For the Rams, they're awesome. It's easy every single week. You play Puka, Kyren, and Devontae Adams. With how well Matthew Stafford's played, I think we should be playing him as well. He's a low-end quarterback one for me. Just a tough guy to sit down with the touchdowns he's throwing right now. It's great that when they get to the 1-yard line, it actually ends up being a touchdown for him instead of a touchdown for Kyren. So that was the main problem with him over the last couple of years is Kyren just fell in the end zone like 20 times a year. That's not happening this year, so it certainly makes Stafford a much more appealing option. Then just keep an eye on Blake Corum. I think he's obviously an elite handcuff here, but we've seen the usage increase over the last several weeks. Actually, it was basically like a pure 50-50 split last week, just alternating drives. So keep an eye on that. You're still playing Kyren for sure, but if Corum gets that involved, he's definitely a premier guy and kind of entering that like flex with benefits sort of tier. For the Niners, Christian McCaffrey must start. You can't really sit George Kittle. I know it hasn't been good since he's been back, but with the tight end position the way it is, it's tough to ever sit a guy like Kittle. Then if you have to play a 49er wide receiver, I think it'd be Juwan Jennings. I'm okay sitting all of them, but if you have to play one, I think Jennings is the guy you go to. And then I'm not going to play Mac Jones in this one. It's just not a great matchup. The Rams defense is phenomenal. Then we got a fun Sunday night game here. We got the Steelers at the Chargers. For the Steelers, Jaylen Warren, he's a must-start every single week. The schedule's going to really soften up for him going forward, too. So not necessarily a blow-up spot here against the Chargers, although it's not a bad one either. But going forward, there's going to be a lot of great matchups here for Warren. DK Metcalf, probably more of like a low-end wide receiver, too, for me. There is upside every single week, but the volume just hasn't been what we thought it would be. You're still playing DK, but he's not like the top 10 in targets kind of guy that we hoped he would be coming into the season. I don't want to play another Steeler, though. The Chargers are decent on defense. I'm not going to play Rodgers. I'm not going to play any of the tight ends. Gainwell. None of those guys check the box for me here. For the Chargers, Ladd, Quentin Johnson, and Gadsden all feel like must-starts for me. Keenan Allen, more of a solid flex play. It's just tough for all four of these guys to have a good game. I bet three of them do, and if I have to bet on one of them not having it, it'd be Keenan, and we've seen his routes sort of decrease a little bit, so just tough to trust Keenan on a weekly basis, although you could certainly do worse in your flex. Justin Herbert, he's in every single week at this point. He's just playing too well. And then Kamani Vidal, a low-end running back 2 for me. I know he kind of got us last week. Really poor performance. Did what should have been a smash matchup. The volume's still going to be there. He still played like 80% of the snaps. Just be tough to put Vidal down if you have him. Not a must-start by any means, but I think he's a guy that's certainly still in play this week. And the last game of the week, we've got a fun Monday night game between the Eagles and the Packers. For the Eagles, it's pretty easy as always. Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, all four of those guys are in. Dallas Goedert, more of a low-end tight end 1, but he's probably in your lineup as well. For the Packers, it's a little bit tougher. We saw them lose Tucker Kraft last week. It makes things really hard for me to trust this offense. I think Josh Jacobs is really the only must-start for them. Outside of that, Romeo Doubs has been involved enough. Just looks a little bit better this year than he's looked over the past couple of years as well. So I think Doubs is a pretty solid wide receiver 3 that I'd be looking to get in my lineup. Christian Watson, decent flex option. You're hoping for a big play. It's always possible here. He's going to be more important to the offense without Kraft there, but tough to be too excited there. And then Luke Musgrave is the only other guy to look at here. More of a wait and see. I don't know exactly what his role is going to be without Kraft, but the thing with Kraft is he was just good because he's Tucker Kraft. A lot of his value was just that yards after the catch ability, breaking tackles, scoring touchdowns. Luke Musgrave doesn't really have that same talent, so it's just tough to really trust Musgrave as anything more than like a low-end dart throw at tight end. And then Jordan Love, I'll mention him. I don't want to play him in this game. He's just been incredibly inconsistent so far this season. The Eagles are a good enough defense. He just lost Tucker Kraft. I bet there will be a little bit of a growing pain in terms of them figuring out the offense without him. So I don't want to play Jordan Love in this week if I can avoid it. So that'll do it for the starts and sits this week. Up next on Monday, you guys will get the waiver wire video. So good luck this week with all of your guys' matchups. Of course, if you guys have any specific start-sit questions, let me know in the comments below. I'll get back to you before the games kick off. And let's go get some wins this week, guys. I really appreciate it. We're getting into crunch time here, and want to get some wins for everybody and get ourselves to the playoffs and go win some championships. So appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you guys with the next one. Peace, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, check out these other videos here if you haven't. If you want more content, please feel free to follow me on Twitter @RealSteelFFB. I'll be more active on there as the season goes on. Thanks. Catch you later.